What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the Mandem, for the Mandem.
I mean, to be fair, her at Ring of Honor does make sense. Like her wrestling, though. At the end of the day, that's where they do a lot of their. They treat it like dark elevation, dark in it. It's just a means for them to like just get people to come.
I saw one graphic go out, and it was like a fatal 4-way, like tag team, like the Aussie Open. That I think.
Aussie Open.
And
TK just be booking anything, man. TK just. I just picking names out of hats, man.
With Ring of Honor, that pissed me off because like the only team that was pure that wasn't AEW Regen was the Kingdom.
Yeah.
But
where's the Kingdom? Like, where they primarily wrestling for?
Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay.
Ring of Honor. The thing is about Ring of Honor, yeah, I feel there's no separation between church and state. It's like, it feels like AEW. Like, it was always going to feel like an AEW rebrand because they're owned by the same people. Like, I always knew that was going to be a thing in it. But it doesn't feel distinct enough as its own thing. And the problem is that I don't know whether it's the TV deal that killed it or whatever. It's just, like, the only reason... Like, Ring of Honor is a show where I'll only tune into the pay-per-views. And even this pay-per-view, I'm like, I'll see.
I'll be at the pay-per-view. As much as I fucking hate Ring of Honor, I'll be at the pay-per-view no matter what.
I'll see.
But
so does Ring of Honor? I don't watch it too tough.
Don't watch it weekly.
What I'm getting from this is they have a booking issue, right?
it's basically dark. It's basically AEW dark.
It's not booked.
As in, it's so formulaic where you have a jobber.
Yeah.
And the AEW star, they'll wrestle. AEW star wins in under 2 minutes. They have 18 matches on the card. Ridiculous.
18?
Bro.
Bro,
the most matches they've had is probably like 18, 19.
Yeah, no, it's an overload of wrestling, but there's wrestling without a point.
So what I'm getting from this is this because Tony Khan's booking this?
Yes.
So they need to separate Tony Khan from
It's physically impossible for anyone to book. Bro, my man's booking Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. I know the Dark don't exist no more, but Ring of Honor, and then he's owned Fulham. Like it's too much.
You know, back in the day, when WCW they'll have like Eric Bischoff doing all the booking. Shouldn't Tony Khan do that? He needs to hire someone else to kind of do the job for him whilst he does his other.
Yeah, because clearly AEW is your sole focus.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Your sole focus.
No,
at the end of the day, like, even if you have a few writers with you and then they all funnel the ideas through you, fair. But then if you're now taking heed of every single thing that's happening, at some point everything is going to be the same. It's going to be the same formula.
There's going to be short sight. There's going to be, because at the end of the day, like I said, like Dale said, AEW is his pride and joy and his baby. Ring of Honor was bought as an opportunity.
Bro, that was for bragging rights.
The thing is...
because he didn't want WWE to buy it.
Yeah.
And he wants the footage because he knows he has CM Punk, he has Samoa Joe.
Which is fair.
He has all of them, which is fair.
I hear that.
And I understand it. Making a profit off that, but at the same time...
As a product, it's not good.
As a product, like, don't get me wrong here, like, as much as I always harping on, like, the aura of what Ring of Honor was, even if there was some sort of change, at least... book Ring of Honor the way Ring of Honor should be booked. Don't book it the same way you book Dark. Because for the first 5 weeks of Ring of Honor, it felt like a fresh new product, and it felt like, you know what, there's some new people here to invest in.
Yeah.
And if you're having like the early squash matches of like seeing new people, fair enough. But then when you're booking Trisha Adora every week to lose, for me it's like, so how do you expect me to be invested in her?
Yeah.
You've got the infantry in the first week, but everyone was so high on them. But then you take them off TV for 6 weeks, you bring them back after the pay-per-view and you have them losing. It makes no sense. Like the way that the booking style of the show doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. The only consistent thing is Athena as women's champion. She's been excellent. She has been absolutely excellent.
So Tony's invested into Athena.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So he's got too much on his hands for him to be handling AEW, Rampage,
Ring of Honor's developmental. Let's
and then
keep
now
it a stack,
Collision's brand new as well.
Collision's
He's got too much on his hand.
I can't like
it makes sense just to give Ring of Honor to someone else to manage.
If I was Tony Khan, listen. We'll have a meeting every single week.
Yeah,
but go and do your thing. Go and do your thing. Like, at least, even if it's now going to look for people that used to work for Ring of Honor.
But that's what I think. Yeah, these like because
where these men now?
A lot of them left. So what's his name? That used to be in Eminem. What's his name?
Oh, Johnny Nitro, not Johnny.
John Mercury.
John Mercury, yeah. He used to be a writer for Ring of Honor. He ended up leaving before they sold. because he was exposing
Where's he
people.
now?
He's
Somewhere.
Was he exposing?
He was exposing people that used to work in the company. Like he made a burner account and just started exposing people.
Because the thing is,
But he was a good writer. People like Steve Carino, good writer. Like there was loads of good writers.
He's NXT.
I feel like, but that's why I feel like, because obviously we're hearing about all of these, like, as per, we're hearing all about these, like, backstage signings, like obviously Chris Heroes backstage and all these, man. They have to be I mean, you can kind of see their imprints on, like, shows like Collision and stuff like that. But surely, like, take some of these man and then put them there. Like, wait, but I don't know. Like, I've just resignated to the fact that Ring of Honor died when it died.
That's what I'm saying.
Ring of Honor died when it died.
When you heard that Ring of Honor was coming back, yeah, what was your obviously like what was your expectation of this whole thing?
So when Ring of Honor got bought, the first thing I tweeted was that when people are saying it should be a brand, I said no, it should not be a brand. Like this isn't Raw and SmackDown. It should be similar to how Cyberfight have Noah, DDT, and they have TJPW. They're all separate entities. They don't they come together maybe once a year, or they'll have feuds with each other. But it's not. Oh yeah, the Ring of Honor champion is on Collision. No, that shouldn't be the case. Like that. My thing was, I just initially thought that Ring of Honor will be coming back to what it was, or it will be a new product, but it will probably have its own separate writers, similar to how SmackDown versus Raw was at one point, where it was two different teams of different people, and they're all competing with each other. Like people, Raw superstars on SmackDown, they obviously their friends are on Raw. But they're competing to have a better show. People on Ring of Honor should be competing that. At one point, Ring of Honor was the work rate show. Of course, now AEW is the work rate show. But if I'm part of Ring of Honor, I should be looking back at, you know what? Look at the stars that came out of Ring of Honor. Look at the matches that have come out of Ring of Honor. This is what we should be replicating. So that way, at some point, there is some sort of like competition. Whereas now, it just seems to be a thing of like, if I'm on Collision, I'm just trying to have a better match than someone on Dynamite. Whereas someone on Ring of Honor is thinking, I just want to have a better match than someone that had the match on Dark. That's just fucking useless.
No, for me, what I foresaw Ring of Honor being, I kind of, as soon as Tony bought it, I said, okay, this isn't going to be like the like the old boy said, the work rate show. But I kind of expected it to be, okay, the show for the younger guys, where it's like, okay, cool, we've got the Omegas, Young Bucks, all of them on the main show. But this is where I thought, okay, put a Lee Moriarty on there, put and I like in the beginning it was
like, then keep him there.
Yeah, no, keep him there and it was like that because remember when Wheeler Yuta had the title, Donnie Garcia had the Pure Championship, and obviously you'd have like Ring of Honor veterans like the Briscoes, the Elder. But I thought, okay, cool. Do you know what? Don't turn it into like developmental for young talent, but the people that we don't get to see on Dynamite or people who aren't necessarily Dynamite TV ready, cool. Put them there and a couple of the Mandem in the indies, like obviously Nick Wayne signed full time to AEW, but like a Nick Wayne, people who are cooking. There's another guy on the indies that I forgot his name, but just a couple of the emerging talents on the indies. All right, cool. You man are bubbling. You're not ready for TV yet, but you're bubbling. Come Ring of Honor. This is the launch pad. That's what I thought it'd be.
To be fair, I thought Rampage was going to be used for that stuff, bro. Because you got Dynamite, you got Rampage, now you got Collision. You may as well use one of them for like developmental, for like the young Gs.
I feel like Rampage is more.
Ring of Honor should have been bought by a network rather than another company like.
That's what he wanted to do though. Tony wanted like Ring of Honor on actual TV and HBO, and then Warner Brothers said no.
Yeah, there's someone.
They don't want that.
I feel like that's where the issue comes from because if it's bought by a network, they're gonna hire someone to manage it for them. Do you get it?
Yeah, I mean, but then again, Tony Khan has enough money to actually build his own kind of like
network
parent company, so then it will be under that parent company AEW and under that company Ring of Honor. So that way he can now focus on
to do that.
No, which is evident. He clearly doesn't want to do that, but at the same time, he's the one that will suffer at the end of the day because at some point, the interest for Ring of Honor is depleting every single time. Yeah. People always buy tickets for Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor holds such a name within wrestling community. Look at TNA. People have been shitting on TNA for time, but people still buy tickets regardless. 100. NWA, we can cuss NWA. People are still selling tickets. You know what I mean? The thing is, we can say barely. We can say barely, but 50% of something is better than 100%.
Whenever I see the broadcast, there's Baby Win there. There's Baby Win. There's enough to fill Thingy, the Ring
The
of
thing
Honor.
is,
Ring of Honor
we can say
show.
barely, but at the end of the day, people are buying tickets. If it's a thing where nobody's turning up, it's
Then that's when we can start doing the things like
empty
that.
arena. Then I'll be like, you know what? Maybe they to cease operations. You know what I mean?
I hear
There's
that.
enough name power within the name, not the wrestlers in NWA. Fuck that.
Yeah, all of my
But
trash.
within NWA, like to a point where if I was a billionaire, I would buy NWA.
Oh.
I would buy NWA and rehash
That
it.
one made a case.
I would buy NWA. No, I'd buy NWA.
Because there's heritage behind it.
Yes, it's heritage behind
There's heritage
it.
behind it.
There's heritage behind it.
It's like okay.
There's heritage behind it.
It'll be like an
Fam,
antique.
think of it like this.
Can I ask you a
Iron Brew. Nobody in London fucking drinks Iron Brew.
But there's heritage.
But there's heritage behind Iron Brew. I would
Like,
buy
not
it.
in the forest.
The man- do you know
Not in
what
the
I
forest.
mean?
If you had a chance to buy not in the forest, would you buy it?
I guess.
Look at the team that Ryan Reynolds fucking bought.
Wrexham.
Of Wrexham, yeah.
You know, I hear your point still. I hear your point.
Like, fam,
Not first
heritage,
heritage,
bro. Heritage will take you a long way.
Yeah.
That's why at some point, even with TNA, as much as they sell the people sell the company all the time,
heritage, yeah.
people always buy the company because there's a lineage behind it. Same with Ring of Honor. Tony Khan bought it because there's a lineage behind it. And within the wrestling company, that's one thing that will always take you a long way: heritage and lineage. NWA is coming up to nearly 100 years old, but regardless, at some point, if Billy Corgan decides to sell it, regardless even if it's worth Eminem, people will buy it because there's heritage behind it. And one thing we have to also realize in wrestling as well, it's the archive that is the most important valuable
it's
thing.
content.
It's
It's
the archive.
It's
So
content.
even if the matches that we're getting and the wrestling is shit, the archive for NWA is still worth a lot of money.
What's up, people? You're watching a clip from the WRESTHINGS podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. By the Mandem, for the Mandem.